Hi, I'm Taryn. This is a video documenting the process of me hand sewing a double quilt. You'll see me throughout the video, but first I want to tell you the story behind it. To tell this, we're taking a walk together through my local woods. When I moved back home as an adult, the conversation on creativity and sewing between me and my mum kept coming back to a mixed media quilt I'd made in secondary school. A creation that, despite all the clearing out we've done over the years, has never been found. We agreed it had probably been left at school or thrown in a bin by teenage me. The quilt stood out in our memories as I'd worked hard on it at school, sewing on animals and sequins. Then when time came for grading, I got a D. I wasn't a grade A student, but all my B's and C's were in creative subjects. This was not. Teenage me translated that to, I am bad at sewing and I shouldn't have helped a quilt ever again. Instead of embracing creative gifts, I, along with the notion in school the only option was grading and fine art, distracted myself with boy drama and poor decision making. My mum didn't know any of how I felt back then, or that there were 3 barely working sewing machines between a room full of students, a teacher who was out the room a lot, and no guidance on making quilts. No wonder I got a D. The environment and lack of instructions and structure plus hormonal teenage life played a huge part. My mum's passing comments stuck with me as they often do. She didn't know it, but a seed was planted. At the end of 2021, I was in the thick of adjusting to life as a new mum. My daughter had many outfits with sweet prints on them, and I started to keep them inside, just in case I did a sewing project. I really like patchwork. I had no idea how, but I cut an 8x8 square inch of cardboard as a guide and then cut big squares out material. I decided I would start when I got to 100 squares. I left some squares blank to embroider my daughter's toddler drawings and repurpose my nanny's embroidery, the person I first learned to sew from. One morning, May 2022, I woke up full of hay fever. I hated the pressure on my face and feeling like overnight I had got the flu. I got up and sorted my squares in envelopes on the dining room table. That is how it began. I followed the little I knew about patchwork and learned as I went. The art organisation Jelly hosts a monthly sewing group, and I fortunately went to a workshop on mini quilt making too. I used what I learned from that and applied it to a bigger scale. I sewed watching TV, films, documentaries, and once a month with other people too. I wanted to show myself I could commit to and finish a long project with an unknown deadline, and that I can sew anything I please. My quilt is imperfect, as is life. Enjoy the film. I am starting on my 100 square patchwork. I have already tacked some pieces together, so I'm currently in the process of it going from in my envelopes where I sorted out all the styles there were. So here are some of my squares in progress. I've put labels on these that say squares to sew so that I know these ones are ready to go, and then the rest are going to be for squares. And I'm creating lines here so that I've got all of them prepared so that hopefully it will speed up the process and make it a lot easier to sew in the evenings with all my squares together. So these are the rows that I have tacked so far, and I've pinned this one. I've laid them all out because I wanted to see what they look like, because ideally I don't want these 2 squares together. There's so many of these squares, a few of them are repeating. They're all clothes from me and our child and my husband. Some drawings as well that I'm going to embroider, and like children's drawings. I think I'm going to change strategy, and instead of doing a line at a time, I'm just going to get all the lines pinned. It's coming along. I'm on my last 2 rows. Good shot, good shot. It's super late and I've spent the best part of 3 hours sewing one line. Sunday after I sewed for a long time and I have a sewing injury here. My shoulder is throbbing. It feels like I've done a hardcore workout with one arm. And this has taught me to slow down and pace myself and not to get into like an achievement spiral of getting to the end of the line, get to the end of the line as fast as you can, because that's not what sewing is about. It's about, especially hand sewing, generally it's done quite slowly and methodically. So yeah, lesson learned. Bad shoulder. Finished. You still filming? This quilt was made from scraps. The back is our old duvet cover and the top is 100 squares of my husband's, my daughter's, and any like hand-me-down clothing that we got. On the canvas like material are my daughter's drawings. So she started doing drawings when she was little, and then gradually they got more detailed, sometimes strange, and then multiple people, and then more detailed with legs and accessories. These are my doodles. So my nanny was a sewer. She's since passed, but I found some of her scraps of like embroidery, and there's a cross stitch here of a robin. My nephew also did like an emotions kite one day on a scrap piece of paper, and I found a way to draw it onto the material as he did and use thread to write the words. My brother gave me a skirt and it had loads of material, so it's repeated throughout. When my daughter was little, as parents or caregivers will know, children can wear really cool patterns, and I saved the patterns because they were just so fun. Sometimes I had dresses that I wore from maternity onwards, things with little memories like pajamas that were handed down from family, and some more pajamas. They're really like hardy material. And then there was like dresses I worked in when I lived in London, and a suit my mother-in-law made for me and my daughter. So it's a mixture of clothes. My husband and the Sikh symbol here, Kanda, with an eagle. So there is a ton of memories and reused clothes on this quilt, and I'm so looking forward to using it on top of the bed in the winter and as just something to be under in the summer and be a bit cooler. So thank you for watching, and I am ecstatic that I was able to finish this project and share it. This quilt was made by Taryn.